Hi, I'm Akil.
And I'm Rohana.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the biggest Indian movie of this year, apparently. Kalki 289080, which stars Prabhas, Amitabh Bachchan, Kamal Hassan, if you can recognize him, Deepika Padukone, and a bunch of other people who show up for like 2 minutes here and there. It's set in like the year, as the title you can says, and it's like a sci-fi, cyberpunk, romantic, drama, comedy, I don't know what it is. It's everything in one. But somehow still can't do the basics, which is like, construct a scene sometimes in one. What is happening here?
Yeah, it's everything except good. It's
It's everything and nothing.
yeah, I was kind of shocked at how bad this was because I mean, not for any other reason, but like no, it didn't feel like the discourse around it was angry.
Right.
Like it didn't like seep through to me. But now
Like,
pick up on
who was that guy who made that Ram movie or whatever, like with some...
what's wrong, Adipurush. Yeah,
Yeah. Was he the same guy?
yeah.
So that one like was actively angered people, right?
That one actively angered people, but not because it was a bad movie. It was mainly like just religious folks who were like, "ऐसे dialogue कैसे?"
Oh,
Yeah. It wasn't like
for the
storytelling wise.
filmmaking of it, right? Because I saw like I think
Yeah.
2.5 minutes of it, and I was like, did they make it in like Windows Movie Maker?
Yeah. No, so that movie was mainly like, how could you like mess with the Ramayana this
Right.
way? Why do you have like Death Eaters in it? All that stuff. So just like creative choices.
Right.
Here, I didn't really get a sense of how bad this was going to be, even though we've been prepared for years now on what to expect from these people. But like, this was just...
they fooled me because like coming into it, it's like most earned of this year. Like critics also like like I think it has a good enough rating on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I was like, maybe it's like, and even from like even global critics are like, yeah, this is like maximalistic Mad Max. I'm like, okay, like sure.
Yeah, I was expecting like, sure, like RRR we didn't like, but sure, I can understand why people liked it. Fine, whatever. But it's this barely even qualifies as a movie.
Exactly.
There's not
so much of it, like that's why I brought up the scene construction thing. Basically, I was like, how can they not even understand that you have like certain shot has to follow a certain shot, right? This is like basic building blocks of filmmaking, right? Like you do the shot, this has to be the next shot, and then you can do the third shot, the fourth shot. But this movie just like does first shot and then fourth shot. I'm like, beach ke do kahan gaye?
People just go from A to B without like any idea of ye kaise hua, and suddenly we are in like a comedy now, but last scene to drama tha, and uske pehle wala romance tha, but uske pehle wala to matlab dystopian thriller tha. So ab ye, how have we reached in the span of 3 minutes to now like broad comedy where the person is like quipping while beating people up? Why is he beating people up? Who is his sidekick? Why does he have 3 sidekicks? How did he get here? Why did he betray his adopted guardian? That's not explained. It's just a series of like baffling, head-scratching decisions. Like I said, storytelling-wise, so it's a mess.
Yeah, and like eventually you find out like 2 hours into it, you're like, wait, why is this even the protagonist, right? Because it's not like he has a purpose in the story for like 2 hours. He's just like bumbling around. He's like, oh, I need money, I can't survive. I need money, I can't survive. And then he just like, I'm like, okay, is there more to your story at this point?
It's kind of shocking, right? Because the movie is 3 hours long, and you're right, there is no protagonist, right? It's not that Prabhas is not the protagonist. He's not. But it's not like Baki do log hain, and we've been sold the movie as, oh, Prabhas ki movie hai. No. There is no protagonist in this film.
Yeah.
It's just, it expects you to watch for 3 hours with nothing to offer. There's not a single person that you can latch onto. Because
it's like crazy, like you're trying to like, you're not even saying you're just making a movie. You're like, I'm going to launch a cinematic universe, which is like balls. But do the basics of making a good movie first, right? Like at least like Marvel maybe wherever it is today, but they had the brains to be like, okay, let's just make a good movie. Iron Man. If we make it good, maybe people will want more.
No, even the worst Marvel movie, and jitna bhi hum complain karte hain ki, oh, isme, sequel bait ho raha hai, this, that, they're shoehorning 15 characters that will be seen in later, this thing. Whatever, even the worst Marvel movie to have done that is still a movie. It's a bad movie, but it's a movie. This one is half a movie. It ends abruptly. It doesn't have a protagonist. It expects you to just keep watching, and there's no emotional payoff. Why?
Like, who am I supposed to like relate to it? Who am I supposed to like see their struggles? What are they feeling? What are they striving towards? Nothing. There is like no one to like latch on to, right?
In fact, on a human level, you will probably latch on to Deepika Padukone because it's very obvious that she's being kind of kept prisoner. She's going to be experimented on. Bad things. We don't want bad things to happen to a seemingly innocent person. Though on a very basic level, you're like, oh, I want her to escape. Right, that's it. With Amitabh Bachchan's character, since he's the first person we kind of meet in this film, and he takes it upon himself to save Deepika Padukone. both those people I am with
Mm.
on a relative scale. Prabhas is actively the villain because
Yeah.
he's challenging those two. He's
Which is
challenging
the annoying
people.
thing, right? I'm just like, wait, you're trying to set this up guy as a protagonist, you know, like this like bounty hunter, like who's living on the fringes, like copied from like 100 different horror movies. Like, yeah, he'll have a golden heart of gold or whatever eventually. But I'm just like, he is actively against everyone else. And it's not like at the end where he wakes up with the weapon and he is himself. No, that's just like he's someone else. And then he forgets that person in like 2 seconds. And I'm like, oh, great. So you're always going to be annoying.
Yeah. No, so I was like, okay, so I saw this coming, obviously, that he's going to have a change of heart, but it's not even a change of heart, right? It's not.
Yeah,
like
it's not.
revealing
It's just
himself to be-
brainwashing. Like that weapon takes over his personality temporarily, and then that weapon leaves his hand. He's back to being himself. I'm like, great. We're going to deal with this again.
Great. So from however much we've been told of him, it could just as easily be a mistake, right? He just happened to be in the weapon's vicinity. It could have been anyone. कोई और तो उसके साथ भी same होता. So the movie itself is not giving you enough to be like, but there is more to this person, right? Beyond like, he seemed to attract a weapon. It's not even like Captain America attracts like the hammer or whatever, you know? Because you know Captain America is a nice person.
Exactly. You've known him for like 9 or 10 movies by that point, right? This guy is like just like sulking around the entire time, just like lying around his car, making like the saddest jokes ever, lying on the ground. And I'm just like, you think you are Star-Lord, but like you are so far from Star-Lord that you're not even a parody of this character at this point.
Yeah. I don't know where to begin. There is, I mean, we've already begun, but like, let's like focus on scenes and figure out what they were trying to do, right? Obviously, there's a lot of nonsense that can just be like edited out, especially like, for like the first hour and a half, I feel like. वहाँ पे तो कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा था. They were just like, whatever. And there is a villain, but there's also a henchman. Is the henchman supposed to be menacing? Not really, because he's played by like a dude who looks like an uncle that you wouldn't notice on the street.
I was like, what is the terrible casting? How can you think that Saswata Chatterjee is gonna play like some like evil, like, you know, like he's not Bill Skarsgård. It's not working. I'm not feeling it.
He's not even playing. एक तो उसका नाम मानस है. I'm not threatened by a dude called Manas, whatever. But like he's not even playing him interestingly, right? It's not like, oh, you look innocent, but then under se you're like this frustrated middle manager, right? Like I can't do anything, but it's like that person from Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Tom. But it's not even that. He's just like a dude. There are no layers to his.
Yeah, it's not like he has some like bigger picture plan that, you know, I will usurp the Supreme eventually. No, that is the other guy's plan, like who just dies.
He's not even like subservient to a believable degree. Like it doesn't even feel like, oh, but I will do anything for like whatever. The Andy Serkis looking villain from Last Jedi.
Basically.
But so I'm not believing a single person in this movie, right? Deepika Padukone is like a damsel in distress, and like it's not like, oh, but we'll subvert expectations. No, she is literally a damsel in distress. She needs to be rescued by not one, not two, but 3 people. And then you have the audacity to frame her as Khaleesi without like, it's just empty kind of iconography, right? Because
which is basically the tagline of the movie, empty iconography.
हाँ, कुछ किया नहीं है उसने.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not very difficult to be like, oh, but we'll write you, we'll make this character a little stronger than, you know.
Nope.
Anybody.
This movie doesn't really care about female characters, right? Because Padukone is the most like with the screen time, but as you just noted, she's entirely useless. And the other two are like treated even worse. Like they appear for like 5 minutes.
Anna Ben shows up for like to make jokes and die.
Which I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking like in terms of like say billing, like Disha Patani and like Mrinal Thakur are in this movie. Why are they in this movie? Why did they sign up?
Yeah, I guess paycheck maybe.
What paycheck did they get for 5 minutes?
Matlab, I don't know.
Clearly it was convincing enough because their roles are like so bad. Like what, the characters don't need to exist. It's not like Roxy shows up at the end and, you know, plays some part in the finale. No, she just disappears from the movie.
Acha. So now, interesting that you mentioned that Disha Patani character, because she appears in the movie as if acha inka koi history hai, which fine, you know, I'll buy that. But then suddenly that is the moment where Prabhas chooses to declare that uska pura objective in life is to get to that complex, right? And there is no other like motivation to his character. He's just like, mujhe complex jana hai. There is no like...
For 2 hours, he's just like complex. Even actually, for 2 hours, even 3 hours, he's complex.
It's not like मेरा कोई दोस्त वहाँ पे गया है, उसने बोला है कि ऐसे ऐसे होता है, मेरे माँ बाप वहाँ पर थे.
No, he's just a weak dude who wants to live a chill life.
And then fine, they somehow, and she's like, fine, I'll take you with me. And that happens very easily for some reason. If it was that easy, why isn't everybody doing it?
In the complex,
Yeah. If everybody can just go to the complex, why isn't everybody just going to the complex? Because it didn't feel like it was difficult for Prabhas to go. And that was his major objective in life. The one and only objective in life. Kar liya tune, bro. You managed to get to the complex. And then wahan pe jaake you danced.
Yeah.
What?
It feels like the entire movie's purpose was like written by the producer. He's like, हम कॉम्प्लेक्स में नाच गाना का सीन सेटअप करना है, उसके लिए जो आपको लिखना है लिख लो.
It's not like you get to the complex and suddenly you're hit by, oh, but it was all a lie, right? It's
not like, it's not like Wizard of Oz or something, right? Like she reaches and you're like, oh my god, this is a tragedy.
Yeah, exactly. So there is no like interesting sci-fi concepts also. Okay, even the privileged people are living under the thumb of whatever supreme ruler, Yaskin, right? There is no like complex ideas at play here. No, literally ऊपर जाके लोग party कर रहे हैं. Which is how I guess poor people imagine rich people to be like. हाँ वो तो party करते हैं पूरे time.
Yeah.
That is like
party करते इनके कपड़े बदलते हैं every shot में. Like literally Disha Parani shows up in one shot. He takes her off the boat. She's wearing white. They step into the party ka ghar. She's wearing like some golden thing. I'm like, when did this happen?
Even he's dressed like in a trench coat or something.
Yeah, it's like,
where did you get that?
In the middle of a shot, why are you changing this costume?
No, but where you came from, like the poverty, you came from that, like a slum.
You just came a slum with like your uniforms and suddenly you have like access to like a walk-in wardrobe now.
Which raises so many questions. If you have access to like, if you can just reach the complex, if you have access to clothes, if you can just gate crash a party without being stopped, so is the complex really that elusive or whatever, or is it just like anybody can? It's just so stupid. So I mean, every scene you can just pick apart like this.
Yeah.
Like, kya ho raha hai yahan par? Suddenly like a tota comes and tells like fortune teller tota comes. You know,
forgotten that existed.
Yeah. And the exact moment where Prabhas is sitting and being like, I will go to the complex one day, and then this fortune teller tota comes, mechanical. There is no interesting, like the creature designs are like boring. There's no like visual inventiveness.
The world building is so boring, right? Because initially when they start setting up this world, like they go from Mahabharata to like 6,000 years old. I'm like, okay, like something promising, like kuch hoga. They show you like Kashi is this like, dystopian city, like first and last city. I'm like, okay, it's going to be like, something dirty, grimy. Like I'd see like people like with their, I'm thinking like Rogue One, like Jeddah, and then I get like an empty town. It's like a ghost town. There's no one else except these people.
But even like you mentioned Rogue One, like the Jeddah, right? It's very clearly modeled on like a Middle Eastern city which has its own internal like religious order and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's literally Kashi.
Yeah.
Isn't it supposed to be like somewhat associated with some religion? I'm saying you don't even have to be like, ye to Hinduism ka gad hai. But give me something, no? How has the religion evolved in like 1,000 years, Do people even believe in it anymore? Or is it just like complex is God now? What has happened? Why set it in? Have people forgotten the idea of gods? Nobody raises those questions, right? And this is inspired by...
there's no one exists to raise those questions. The world is like so empty. Like when the chase sequences are happening, it's just the people who are being chased and the people who are chasing them. There are no citizens in the city.
The problem is that if you were to shave off like an hour of the first half, right? And the second act is that Shambhala stuff. And then you organically move into a third act. That's a movie.
Yeah.
But right now we have 1.5 ghanta of nothing. We have 1 hour of build up, which just ends.
In the middle of it. Let's just feel like literally like this kaat diya beech mein se.
It literally feels like kaat diya.
Like they shot it, but we can't show it to you because we decided it's part.
It's just, for no other reason. Because...
yeah, it's like Dune, na? Like, we just decided to end here.
Which is why I was so annoyed by Dune also. But I can't compare it.
I mean, yeah, obviously, that's the problem, right? Because we discussed that. This is not even a movie. Like, if you don't know how to build a scene, what shots are, what like basic, like, how way to place the camera, how to frame this, where to edit, like, where to cut. It feels like a music video sometimes. Like, he's doing things to his car, and I'm like, okay, you give me this establishing shot, then you give me a wide shot, then you give me a close-up, then you give me again a wide shot. I'm like, wait, what just happened?
No, but we watched that. No, humne wo Salar dekha tha na.
So it's like ghost directing.
No, I think that people just literally too terrified to shoot him in a way that isn't already done before.
I can't understand also like how he's okay like getting mocked so badly, right? Because he has to know, right? His entry scene is the worst scene imaginable.
No, I'm not sure.
Or does he not know?
If he knew, it wouldn't be this. It would be something else. Which
he shows up like in the worst scene possible. It's like you realize we are laughing at you. We're not laughing with you, right?
No, I don't think that's happening. If for even a second he felt like he was being mocked, that scene would not exist. They keep mentioning like rebel fans, rebel hai ye, which is all like
Oh yeah. It's can't stand it. Like it's just I was like, don't do meta dialogue with me. Like your scene is so garbage right now. I'm like, ho kya raha hai? Why is he even there? People just standing around. They're like, yeah. At that point, the movie is not about Bhairava. It's like about Prabhas. He's lying on the ground. Everyone's a fan of the guy on the ground, not your character.
No, but then Rajamouli shows up, and then
Ram Gopal Verma shows up.
Ram Gopal Verma shows up, and Rajamouli shows up, and for no other reason is to be like drive around like with him and be like make Bahubali references and then just drive away.
Yeah.
What just happened?
It's like, who is this movie for? Are you making like some like inside joke references to like you show it to the director community like हाँ मैंने बना दिया.
No, अगर तुम्हें डालना भी है राजामौली को, right? डाल दो. Nobody's stopping you. But like come up with a better scene, no? Except like, oh, but he's literally shoehorned in and then he leaves. He has no purpose in that scene. They're literally in a car chase. Matlab, how did he find out?
Yeah, and the chase is so like damn annoying. Like if you're gonna copy from a movie, you have to like live up to at least like 20% of it, right? Like you have to be like, हाँ हमने ये design करा set piece. These are the building blocks of it. Like 3 cars will show up. They will deal with them. Certain characters will like go here and there. Then the main guy will show up with Prabhas and this will happen. कुछ भी random हो रहा है. Like there's no consistency to the number of villains in any scene.
Yeah, it's fully like insane because and this time they can't even complain about, oh, but India में we can't really afford, you know, like Hollywood. उनके पास तो पैसा बहुत होता है. तुमने जा के सबको बोला है कि ये तो सबसे expensive Indian film of all time. That is like a PR move, right? So like I don't see it on screen. I mean I can't. So there are a couple of shots that are admittedly done well, you know, especially at the ladai jhagda wala battle stuff at the end. Credit where it's due. But like the rest of it is just garbage. It's just straight garbage.
Yeah. The problem is like the rest of it is 98% of the movie.
Yeah, the rest of it is 98% of the movie. It looks like PS2 level of like, even the establishing shot of Kashi, I'm like, एक second, ये तो photo है.
Yeah.
ये तो still है.
Yeah. That's and the problem is it's not like, you know, कि director knows कि, you know, first priority is movie and second priority is the
People will buy it. People will buy a matte painting and start.
Like he will show you like random established shots which have no value. I'm like, why am I still in this shot? Take me to the next shot. He's like, no, we will show you 5 more seconds of this. I'm like, why?
It's like how people complained about Deadpool ka that void wala place. Na ki, oh my god, it looks so terrible, like visually. Like, have you seen Kalki? Uske samne to that looks like wow, like genius.
Yeah, that looks like he have the most beautiful like scenery ever.
Have you seen Kalki? All the desert sequences and like the random like vehicles and like discarded like machinery and like a statue of a guy with a hand. Oh my god.
And the thing is like they'll show you these like all these like things you just mentioned, you know, all these vehicles and stuff, and they'll look like full prestige. There will not be like one layer of like dirt on them. And they've been driving through like desert for the last 1 hour.
Are my car, if you drive it in like Delhi for like 1 day, it looks dirtier than any of these post-apocalyptic vehicles.
And people's faces, why does everyone's faces look like they just stepped out of a trailer? Like, भाई तुम्हारा makeup कौन कर रहा है? Why can't they put थोड़ा सा like, you know, like dirt on them? Like हाँ यहाँ पे थोड़ा wound है, यहाँ पे थोड़ा grease है, कुछ तो डालो. Everyone looks like pristine as if they're in a music video.
तो हमने पूरा effort Mr. Bachchan पे डाल दिया है. All the man hours that we had, बाकी we just touch.
Because clearly he was the only guy willing to like look realistic.
Yeah, बाकी का touch up बाकी निकाल.
Everyone was like, no, हमारा face बहुत अच्छा है, कुछ मत करो.
But yeah, this is like one of those irredeemable, crappy like movies where I'm like, oh my god, 3 hours of my life gone.
And then it's celebrated like as the biggest movie of like this year from India. I'm just like, what is wrong with our audiences? Why are people like rewarding this?
Yeah, why are people reward? एक तो मतलब forget people complain. Like people should be like up in arms about, oh, we just got scammed. We paid for a movie, but we got like 1/3 of a movie, you know. And it's not like
I'm guessing a lot of people paid for this movie in IMAX. Like they should complain a lot more.
Yeah. So we paid for 1/3 of an ugly movie in IMAX. But any like rational person, you would watch and be like, oh, but एक second, this movie doesn't end. It just abruptly stops. There is no climax. What the hell just happened? Who is this person? All those questions.
Like people could have seen 2 weeks. I'm not sure about the release in the theater. But I think around 2 to 3 weeks before this movie should have been theaters. There's a movie which is copies, you know, called Furious, which people could have spent money on and watched.
No.
And it would be like 100x better.
Yeah,
But people watch this.
which is the sad reality.
So that's the thing. The movies like these just prove how deeply embedded India's star system is. Like people just go for like, oh, naam mein hai Prabhas, Padukone and Amitabh Bachchan, we are showing up.
What I'm surprised about though is that people have been doing that for decades, right? But people have also occasionally been calling out, like for instance, a lot of movies starring Prabhas himself recently, people have
Abandoned.
that wasn't the case here. People liked this movie, right?
They went back to it like over and over.
Yeah, which is the surprising part. So Radhe Shyam didn't work for you, Adi Purush didn't work for you, but for what reason has Kalki worked for you? It's just as bad.
Amazing.
Self-indulgent. Like, अगर Tarantino 3 घंटे की picture बनाता है, people are like, oh my god, Quentin, like, please, you need to kind of rein it in, you know, get a producer.
Yeah, people had the same complaint about Oppenheimer. Like, amazing movie, but people still you still have people complaining of like, that's just too long. You have to find a way to trim it down.
And look at this, just casually, 3 घंटे का picture.
Yeah,
with like,
it's like delivering casually. Like I'm like, first Endgame. It's like when Avengers Endgame earned 3-hour length. You know, they took like 1 decade to earn a 3-hour length. These are like our first installment started was 3 hours. Like, what will you make 10 years from now?
Or and like just obvious like deleted scenes scattered throughout. It's not like, oh, but like I understand why it's 3 hours long because you can't really everything contributes to the story. No, there's like a million things that you can just remove.
Exactly. There's so many scenes with like Bhairava and his like landlord, and I'm just like, why do these exist? Why does this character exist?
Like this is completely irredeemable, and I don't think I'm interested in watching any other follow up to this cinematic universe.
Yeah, please just like. But the problem is like people are rewarded, so we're getting at least minimum 1. I'm guessing.
Sure, whatever. But my thing is that I'll try anything once, but then if it's this bad, then I'm not going back for seconds. Yeah. I think that is the resolution that we should make this year. Like, like not again, right? We can't just.
Yeah.
So if you give us like another movie, sure, we'll try it. But other Kalki 2, then no, thank you.
Right, time to end then.
Yep.
That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review where episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.